Information and Communication Technology, The Industrial Revolution That Wasn't, by Bernard C. Beaudreau, Professor of Economics, Laval University, Quebec, Canada. For over 3 decades, the world has looked to information and communication technology as harboring the seeds of the next industrial revolution. In the eyes of many, ICT would do what the dynamo had done in the 20th century, what the steam engine had done in the 19th century, namely raise our level of material wealth. In other words, make us richer. Author Alvin Toffler referred to this brave new world as the third wave. Scientists talked of the third industrial revolution. ICT zealots could hardly contain their enthusiasm. 3 decades later, the time of reckoning is fast approaching. Has ICT delivered? Is the world richer as a result? Have developed countries renewed with the high annual growth rates of the post-World War II period, after the infamous productivity slowdown? Has ICT pulled poor countries out of their abject poverty? Are we in the midst of the third industrial revolution? In ICT, the industrial revolution that wasn't, Laval University economics professor Bernard C. Beaudreau examines these questions and comes to the conclusion that information and communication technology cannot, has not, is not, nor will not raise wealth levels as was originally expected. His reasoning is simple. Unlike energy that fueled both the first and second industrial revolutions, information is not physically productive. According to classical mechanics and thermodynamics, energy and energy alone is physically productive. That is not to say that information is not necessary, as it underlies most material processes. He is clear on this. Information is necessary, but not physically productive. More and better information, he goes on to argue, affects output through the concept of second law efficiency. The problem is that second law efficiency is bounded from above. In other words, the efficiency gains from more and better information are limited. He comes to the conclusion that, theoretically speaking, ICT cannot make us richer the way the steam engine and the dynamo did in the past. In other words, ICT has not and will not, and in fact cannot usher in a new industrial revolution. In 1998, Nobel laureate Robert Solow raised what has since become known as the information paradox. Namely, that we see computers everywhere but in the productivity data. Beaudreau's findings shed light on this paradox. Namely, the reason we don't see computers in the productivity data is simple. Information is simply not physically productive. To think otherwise is to violate the basic laws of physics. For more on this, get Information and Communication Technology, The Industrial Revolution That Wasn't, available at all good booksellers and Amazon.com.